Yes, boys, hope we are well. Back again with another YouTube video. So, in this one, we are going over my Tuesday leg session. So, today is the Sunday, the 23rd. Is good turnaround time for me. So, this session would have been the Tuesday, the 18th of November, and this is my 8-set leg day. It's also my only session of the week that's not in the dock. So I run this session in warehouse, 5 minutes from where I live, and that is simply the reason that I cheat in the dock for this session. You know, for something so low volume and that I get done so quickly, like an hour and 20 minutes completes this session for me. There's really no point me doing the 45-minute drive up to the dock just to do 8 sets. But the reason this leg session is only 8 sets long, it might 9 sets actually. It's one of the two. It's either 7 movements and 8 sets or 8 movements and 9 sets. I believe it's 7 movements, 8 sets, but you'll figure that out if you keep track on the video. But the reasoning is I train legs in full body on a Saturday, then I train legs again on Tuesday, and I train legs again on Thursday. So this session only has 2 sleeps before Thursday's leg session. So any more than minimal volume, and I'm really pushing the boat out on what I can recover from, and that is going to impact me progressing my lifts on my Thursday full body leg training. So that's the reason we have such a low volume session. But into the session itself, you'll see clips in front of you. I have got it set up on my laptop as well. We just seen the toe press. So at the minute I'm training calves 2 to 3 times per week. Just 1 set a pop, just for time reasonings, because you know with full body sessions, you don't want to be doing 2-3 sets of calves and then 2 sleeps. I figured out that's all I can recover from. So after the calf raise, we jump into the Cybex leg extension. Now this differs from my other 2 sessions. You'll see me drinking my EAs here. So this was probably 2 to 2 hours 20 minutes after my pre-workout meal. This was before I actually added in any carb powder. So this was just trained by JP pina colada EAs. Very good, I would recommend. But yeah, this leg extension differs from what I do on both full body sessions, which is the Prime leg extension. And how that differs is obviously with Prime kits, the whole selling point is the adjustable resistance profile. So this simply means that this Cybex challenges you in the shortened range, you know, as you're approaching full lockout at the knee. So you have to really put it before any compound quad work, because say you fatigue your quads on a squat pattern or a leg press or anything that trains the quads, you're limiting that ability to get the quad fully short. Our ability to fully shorten a muscle diminishes as we fatigue it. So having this as the last exercise of a quad session or quad training would make no sense, because the load relative that you would be able to use would be so minimal compared to at the start of the session. And you'll notice if you actually play about with this in your programming, you won't, by doing the leg extension up first, you won't lose as much load on the leg press in comparison to doing the leg press up first and then doing the shortened range leg extension afterwards. So getting into the top set here, I believe seatbelt and straps are on. I am a big advocate for doing both of those. Now some people go one the other, some people do both, or some people do neither. I mean, wasn't the top set, my bad. Some people do neither, and I think you're seriously leaving gains on the table, stimulus on the table, by not trying to increase stability where possible in your training. Yeah, you're getting a fucking airplane seat belt for your leg extension, but it makes a hell of a difference. and you'll only actually realize how much of a difference it makes once you start using one. I've tried to do a seated ham curl or a leg extension without my seatbelt now, and I simply can't do it. It feels awful compared to being locked in, hips all the way back, lower back attached to that back pad, and you can just solely focus on dragging through the quads. And that's something I really like about this piece. With the prime leg extension, you're obviously battling through that length and range challenge. When I'm on the prime leg extension, it's like 5 plates on the top pin, and you're fighting through that. But in here, you can really focus on dragging through the quads and getting into that shortened range challenge, because there's such minimal tension or load in that length and range. You just skip through it, and then you really utilize the straps on the seat when getting the quads fully short. You can see here the movement into the shortened range is slow. I'm dragging through the quads, and you can just really picture the sensation that's going through my quads there. Next movement up, we have movement number 3, a linear leg press. Now this just looks like some random piece of off-brand equipment, but this right here is probably a big reason why I actually do run this session at Warehouse, because I get on so well with it. And you will be able to see, maybe you've seen on my Instagram, me absolutely sinking the shit out of this leg press. But you'll see here now the range I can get on this, and the stimulus I know that is deriving from these sets is like ridiculous. I can take these sets all the way there comfortably. I can feel on this, even though I'm folding like a pretzel, I can feel really safely on this piece as well. So this is generally just a case of running this movement up for only the next 6 to 8 weeks, sadly, because in the next month or two I am moving gyms, and I will just be doing training out of one gym, because that is going to be a 15-minute drive, and it's going to have kit or equipment on par with the dock, if not better, and better than Warehouse here. But Warehouse, there is reason I pay for the day pass once a week for these Tuesday legs, and it's the amount of kit that I need to do this leg session isn't much, and I can get away with a really good leg session just by what's available to me here. You know, you'll see we've got all the bases covered for a leg day coming up. Seated ham, you know, you do a barbell hinge, you do a machine leg press, a machine leg extension. I've got a glute drive in here, knotless glute drive, probably the best in the game. But aside from that top set going down here, you'll see we have the micro plates on the end of the machine. They actually wouldn't go right up against the other plates, so that is a tad annoying. But we have got the micro plates, the 0.5 kilo and the 2.5 on the end here, going for a 0.5 kilo progression and a rep progression ideally, but I don't think I took that this session. It was overall a very good session. I can't lie. Training is going super well coming out of this diet. As of today, we are actually 4 weeks and a day post diet, so just like a month after. And I actually woke up 2.8 pounds lighter than where I ended the diet. So to be progressing training and body weight have not to have came up and food's doubled and expenditures halved, I'm in a very good spot. I would ideally like to see body weight starting to come up now. I am a bit pissed off that some digestive issues and early final meals and stuff have played a role in me being 1.5 kilos down from where I ended the diet. I was actually up past 175 on average this week, but now I'm pretty much just on 175. So we would want body weight coming up a little bit, but generally biofeedback through the day, biometrics are all coming back very nicely for me. Appetite, I'm so ready for meals. And food digests a treat. It sits a treat in the stomach. I'm ready within an hour to eat, an hour to 30 minutes. I could go for a meal again. I obviously don't, because we want to give that time for the food from the last meal to pass through the gut. But, you know, I'm pretty empty when it comes up to the next meal. So that's good. Energy throughout the day is tenfold, to be honest. That's the only way to describe it. I was getting very draggy towards the end of my diet simply because I had to drop so much body weight. It was like a 45-pound diet, and you're gonna feel that. But as for the session, again, we are warming up on the barbell stiff leg deadlift. So if you follow me or have watched the Saturday, I believe Saturday full body has been a YouTube video. If not, I need to get on that. But I do more so conventional pull on my Saturday full body session, but this Tuesday rotation is where I pull stiff. This is a stiff leg. If you look ahead of you right now, this is a stiff leg pull. Back is pretty much horizontal or running parallel to the floor, and I am challenging my glutes, hams, adductors, erectors maximally here. So we have 185 on the bar. This was actually a +1 rep, I believe. Maybe a up 2.5 kilo as well. That rings a bell in my head. But just look at the form. You know, we're not allowing that angle of chest going vertically. We're not trying to escape this really parallel floor position. We're embracing it. We're embracing the posterior chain challenge and fighting through these reps. Wait, I tell you how my glutes felt after locking this rep. Ridiculous. So I know in my head that is just pure stimulus. Moving on, we have the Life Fitness seated ham curl. Now, not a great ham curl by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love it, but I'm someone who believes that getting into that stretch range, that lengthened range for a hamstring movement is very important, and having majority of the load in that lengthened range is of even more importance. And here, if you watch my concentric speed towards the end, it's more of a shortened range challenge just because of how little range of motion you can get on this seated ham. So I'm treating it very tempo-y, mind muscle connection-y, with the pause and the lengthen and the pause and the shorten, simply because it's a light stack as well. But my prime ham curl is leaps and bounds better than this, because you can obviously adjust the cam setting on that and make all the load sit in that lengthened range with the cam 3 set up there. But I still get stimulus off this. You know, the next day I have ham soreness from 2 sets of direct ham work through the SLDL and this seated hamstring curl. I am sore. You know, I feel like my hamstrings have trained, and you simply can't look at a rep speed like this and say that you haven't got some hamstring stimulus. So while it might not be as productive, as stimulating as the prime hamstring curl, it's something. And for the 5-minute drive, saving me 40 minutes each way to the gym, I'm happy enough to run this session here. Next up, we have an abductor. Now, I believe this is something that a lot of people neglect in their training. Everyone's got direct adductor work. No one's got abductor work. The way I remember those, the difference in those, by the way, is ab. Think of ab training and it's going away, like get away. I don't want to do ab training, so that's what you're watching right now. And adductor is when you're closing in. You're training your adductors on the inside of your leg. So all the adductors I have access to, the Precore in the dock and the Life Fitness in Warehouse, are both extremely light, so I don't actually do any direct adductor work as of now in my programming. But the caveat to that is I leg press with immense depth, and all my squat patterns are taken to failure with a lot of range into that stretch position, and I keep my toes at an outward angle just to enhance or maximize that adductor stimulus. And the final movement of this session, as you can see, it's a very short session, but it's need must, because your volume must be reflective of your frequency when you're programming and looking to progressively overload the logbook as much as you can and not have to change execution to force a progression, because that's not really a progression. So we've got just over 5 plates aside, 5 and a 2.5 kilo plate. 520s and a 2.5 kilo plate on either side of the glute drive. And as I was saying earlier, this is the best glute drive in the game. It is just a shame that it is so light. It's a bit of a bollock to load up the plates. But yeah, this is all on the glutes. Keep an eye on the range. It's not taking the piss in the lengthen, because that's how you turn it into a squat drive or a quad movement realistically. And you'll see me struggling to get that short and re-rack the machine, simply because my glutes are absolutely toast. So that is it for the session and almost it for the YouTube video, but we have a little bit of post-workout posing. So a look at the current rig. I can actually pull up my Google Sheets and see what weight I was in these visuals. Now obviously it's not the greatest angle, but I was sitting at 175 pounds on the dot in this clip, and it's obviously post legs. Lighting's not great from where I'm recording it from, so you're not getting a true idea of the condition, but I'm very happy with how I've reversed out of this diet. You know, not many off-plan occasions, body weight hasn't came up, and training is progressing, condition is getting better. You can see some of the sharpness through the midsection stuff, even some leg detail after legs, which is always a nice thing to see. But very excited to get growing and pushing the scale weight up eventually. We're sitting on 3,400 and 2,900 calories a day, and there's room to push. So guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you did enjoy.